I got some figuring out to do. What is our video about today? You see these? These are little bulbs, kind of like Christmas type bulbs, except they're round. Momi had them on this deck, on the rail, and she plugged them in. We got a GFCI electrical outlet out there, and it wasn't working. And she wanted me to check it out, and I told her, just leave them up there. Well, she pulled them all down, rolled it all back. She goes, it's not working, it's not working. Okay, and I thought, phooey on that, we got to figure this out. And look at that, nice, eh? And I thought, I got to figure this out. And because it's under this bell box, and see, there is a GFCI, and I'm gonna have to, first off, I got to figure out how to pull this cover plate off. Not quite sure how to even, oh, I see. You take this and just pull down on it to undo that top screw, see, like that. So I'll get this off. I'm gonna take that off, and then, well, I'll talk to you about this GFCI electrical outlet and whether or not, I don't know if it's a good one or a bad one, and I aim to find out, and I want you to check it out as well. We just installed this, and it happens to be slightly breezy today, so hopefully that doesn't really bother you if it makes a little bit of noise while we're doing this. I'm just troubleshooting this. I don't have a new GFCI electrical outlet to replace this with, and I still have the power on because I don't even know what breaker this is on. So I gotta be mindful of that. And see this cover, it's not gonna go on. I'm gonna have to install a new one of these gaskets, and I've got one. Okay, so I'm just gonna pull that off. And now, Momi was saying this wasn't working, and usually what you can do is there's a test button here. There's a test button right here, and then this one says reset. You're supposed to be able to press this reset button in, and see, it's not pushing in and clicking. Sometimes you have to push it hard. See, it's not working. That tells me, if I can't set that, that tells me a couple things. Normally you have to have power onto your outlet before you can test that. So either the power coming up from there is not on, maybe there's a junction box down underneath the deck, and there's a wire nut that's loose or something. I see all kinds of wires in here. I really am hating to start pulling on this thing, because I know if you don't have power to a GFCI, your test button, your reset button will never push in. Once you got power, then you can push that in. So just because it's not pushing in doesn't really tell me if this GFCI electrical outlet is bad. And we know it's not working because there's no power. And Momi, she plugged in power to here, and I was hoping to push my tester on a screw or something back there, and I thought I might be able to see a screw where I could push my tester on one side and the other. But I'm gonna have to look at this a little bit more carefully, and maybe I can go into the electrical panel and see if there's something that says electrical outlet, the GFCI deck, out on the deck or something like that. Or because I really don't like to work on hot things. I mean, I could pull this out and be real careful with it. Then I could test some wires back there and take it out. But I really don't like working on hot things, and I don't want you working on hot things either. Electrician, yeah, they know what they're doing. They can do it, and that kind of stuff. But see, if there's no power to here, then my GFCI could be good. But if I know that power is coming to here and it's hooked up properly, And if this still is not working, then chances are it's a bad GFI outlet. Okay, that's the way to figure that out. Well, I'm glad I checked the breakers first. I found one that happened to say deck plugs, believe it or not, but it's funny. They say deck plugs, but I only see one plug on this deck. So I'm pretty sure I have the power off. I'm going to be careful with this, as careful as I can be. Should I have Momi here in case I get electrocuted? Nah, I don't know. One way or another, I've got to get this fixed. The first thing I want to do, wow, that's a long screw, is to see if I actually have power coming up to the GFI electrical outlet. I shouldn't have any issue with that, but again, you never know. Something always goes amiss with electrical, it seems like. Now, this I happen to know goes down below. Oh, look at that. The whole box is going to come off the wall. Oh, those turkeys. I see what they did. There's an electrical outlet location on the wall. Oh, good grief. And it's packed with wires. And then they wanted to put electrical underneath the deck, so they took the box off and they put a different box on here with the knockout, added that, and this whole thing screwed into the electrical in the wall, and it's all packed with wires. Son of gun. Son of gun. Okay. But first things first, before, and you know, I might not have to pull it all off the wall, because as far as I got it, there's only one black wire. This is a black wire hooked up to there, and there's the white wire hooked up over there. Now, I'm going to turn the breaker back on. Now I can test those with my tester. I'm actually hoping that this is bad, so I don't have to troubleshoot and pull this all apart, make sure the wire nuts are connected and there's no loose wire nuts, and pull that all apart and take this box off and all that kind of stuff, because it might just be the simplest thing is to replace this, but this might not be it. But if the power is coming on to this thing, and if it doesn't reset, that tells me it's the GFI electrical outlet. Okay? Now see, if this GFI was, if this was not the only location where you wanted this GFI, you could use these other wires, screw holes up at the top, up here, on this side and this side, and they got yellow on there, and that means that your main power coming into here goes there. And then if you had power going out of this over to another electrical outlet, and another electrical outlet, and another electrical outlet, if you knew that, you could hook that power up to the top, and this GFI electrical outlet would cover your non-GFI electrical outlets down the line of that same circuit. Do you see what I mean? So you wouldn't have to necessarily, if you knew they were on the same circuit, and if you had two more electrical outlets, you wouldn't have to put a GFI here and a GFI over here if they're coming off of this same circuit. And if you knew that, you can hook it up in such a manner. And so that's why that's why it's hooked up the way this one is. But they give you options. That's kind of slick, huh? Okay, so I'm going to turn the power back on, and we're going to see if we've got power to that electrical outlet or not. If we don't, then we know that somewhere in the wall hopefully there's a wire nut that's loose or something like that. Okay. Oh, silly me. Before I do that, I'm going to test it right now. I'm making the assumption that the breaker has all the power off, and I'm first going to test that by putting it on both sides, and my tester does not light up. I know there's no power to there, and there shouldn't be any power to that because as far as I know, I've got the right breaker off. Okay, so now I'm going to go back and turn the breaker on and see what happens. Ding dong, the witch is dead, the wicked witch. Okay, I got the power back on, and I'm hoping beyond hope that I get power here. And I do. Good. I don't know if you can see that. My little light down here is in fact lit up right there. Can you see that? Okay, so that tells me that electrical outlet is not working, and I was hoping that was the case because that should be an easy fix. And now I'm going to turn the power back off to this. I could leave this all unscrewed. If I'm going to the store the same day, I can leave this all unscrewed like this. If not, I can screw it all back together, pick up my materials, do it another day. You never want to leave anything out if you don't have your breaker off or whatever. The other thing I need to do is look at this, and I'm not sure if they installed a 15 amp GFI or a 20 amp, and the wires are 12 gauge wires, and it's on a 20 amp circuit. So that tells me, what does that tell me? That tells me this should be a 20 amp GFI, not a 15 amp. And I'm looking on the side, and sure enough, see right there? It says 20 amp. See? And sometimes it's written up here. And so I'm going to go to the store and I'm going to get a 20 amp because you never know what you're going to have hooked onto the circuit. Don't get a 15 amp GFI if it's on a 20 amp breaker. Okay? Remember that. And so I'm going to shut that breaker back off. And I don't know, I'll probably screw this all back up there to the wall for now just to be on the safe side. Get it all back up into place, whatever. And then I'll go to the store. Next time I'm around, I will replace this, and I'll make that a separate video. This one will be how to troubleshoot a GFI electrical outlet or something like that. Look for it on my channel. And thanks for watching. And see, with the power on, this tester still will not push in. And it's on the exterior of a building, and chances are it's got moisture in there and stuff, even though it was under a wet location with cover closed. A bell box is what it's called. And it's extended its life expectancy 15 years outside, even with the cover. You know, expect to see issues come up. All right, that's it for now.